everybody. I'm just getting the space ready to go. I'm Amy Figueroa, and this is Book of Magic. We're going to make something really cool today that we can use in our journals, and I just want to wish you all so much love and inspiration and abundance as we get started. Here I have a magical piece of cardstock, just plain old cardstock, and I'm using a pencil, and that's all we need to get started. So let's jump in. I'm sketching an eye, and I don't know about you, but if you're anything like me, you've been drawing an eye like since you were a teenager, and it's your go-to doodle, and you're probably pretty good at it now. So I was thinking, this is something that we all do. Why don't we turn it into something even more cool, and we can use it in our journals in different ways. So this is going to turn into a lover's eye. If you haven't heard of the lover's eye, let me read you this definition. It's a painted miniature of the giver's eye presented to a loved one. And it's a pin or a brooch, usually framed and under glass. And the notion accompanying this short-lived fad that was between 1790 and 1820 was that the eye would be recognizable only to the recipient and could therefore be worn publicly, keeping the lover's identity a secret. It was jewelry and it was a statement piece, and I think it's a really cool idea, mostly because of the way it looks, because I just love an eye, and then an eye in a frame, and then you wear it. I mean, yeah. But anyway, I wanted to put this in my journal to convey something different for me. I wanted to convey that I'm aware of certain things now, and that's what I'll be writing about, and I can see clearly now, and my eyes are wide open to some things that they weren't open to before. I think that's a really great prompt, don't you? So we're gonna use this blending stump to add some shading around the outer edge of the eye, and also on the inner edge here. I want to make this shading dark. I want it to look grungy and moody, and I'm making a frame now. I'm gonna do an oval, and it looks a little wonky now, but I'm just gonna go around and around until I get it the way I like it. I'm not pressing too hard with my pencil so that when I erase, I don't, I'm not making a big mess. I'm just lightly sketching around and around until I get the oval that I like. I know it's not going to be perfect, but I'm just going to get it to where I like it. And I just want to mention that you could also do a circle, you could do a square, a rectangle, a triangle, or a heart if you want. You can try all of them. I'm probably going to try some more after this one too. So once you have it in a pretty good shape, you just darken it up a little. And now we're adding in the pupil. Did I say people? We're adding the pupil. And I have decided to add some eyelashes back in there. I think it looks good. I want to make sure underneath the eye is pretty dark. And this line that goes right underneath the eyelid will make your eyes appear more realistic and lifelike. It's time to add some color, and we're going to be using gouache. This is my gouache palette. As you can see, it's all dried up, but when I add water to the colors, they come back to life, and that's what I love about gouache. It's what I also love about watercolor. And I'm going to be using burnt sienna with black. I'm mixing the two. I want to get this grungy looking brown. So I'm adding a bunch of water, and then I'm gonna test it to the side on the same paper that I'll be painting on, just to see what it looks like. Always want to do that before I paint straight onto my drawing. So this is watery, but it's not overly watery. I don't know how to explain that. You'll just have to dive in and don't use too much water, but you do need it to be watery because we don't want it to be too dark either. And remember that we're working on cardstock, so that's why we can't use too much water. And then I just want to remind you that it's going to dry lighter than how it looks right now. So you kind of want to add depth in layers. You don't want to go too dark at first. You want to try and keep it as light as possible. And then blow dry it and see if it needs to be darker, and then you add another layer. So this has been blow dried, and I'm going to use my Sharpie fine tip to add some details and some line work. Now I'm adding watery black underneath the eye, and I'm making sure not to get it too dark, but I do want it to be grungy. So I'm adding a little water, and then I'm just gonna dab it off so that it doesn't pool up and give me a big water spot. So now I'm adding some black to the outer edges of the eye and giving it that really light gray wash right underneath the eyelid. Just adding this watery black here and there for these last bits of grunginess. I'm not gonna cover the whole thing. I'm gonna leave a couple of little areas for highlights. And I have brown eyes, so I'm giving it like a golden brown and a very light wash of red or pink. This is blow dried now, and I'm going to be adding a frame around it with some black paint. This is chalk paint, and I got it at Dollar General here. It's very affordable. I'll leave you the link. It's really good. I like it. It's a good quality, nice creamy thickness, and dries really matte, and I like it a lot. So I'm just going to go around the eye and create my frame. I'm not too worried about the outer edge of it. I'm just trying to get the inner edge as even as possible, because I'm going to be cutting out the outer edge later. So I'm taking my time and trying to get this even. And then in the spaces where I just cannot get it even, I'm using the dry brush technique and kind of just smearing the paint around so that it looks a little extra grungy and kind of evens things out for me. While that's drying, let's do some more detail work, adding these highlights to the eye. And you can really put them anywhere. You can make this up as you go along. A lot of times I place the highlight in order to cover up something that I don't like that I did. I don't know why, I just wanted to give a little moon and stars tattoo here. I mean, why not? Let's cut out this frame now that it's dry. I'm just going around here and trying to keep it the same width all the way around. Obviously, I'm not doing it, but I'm trying. I'm not concerned with getting it exactly perfect. And in the spaces where it's kind of like way off, I'm gonna cover that up here in a minute. I thought it would be really cool to use some of this crocheted lace underneath it somehow. I dyed this a while back and I don't remember what I used or why I was dyeing it, but I think it looks pretty cool. And I'm going to use this Fix glue to adhere these two pieces together. I'm gonna hold it down there for a couple of seconds to make sure it stays. I like the way it looks, but I want to add more, so I'm going to use my Liquitex acrylic ink, and this is transparent burnt sienna. Just going to plop some right here And I'm gonna work quickly because that's cardstock and it is just absorbing the ink as we speak. So I dip my brush in water and I'm just kind of tapping it here and there on the fabric. I love how this looks. This is so cool. I blow dried this and I'm looking at it, and this edge up here is a little thin. So I saw this old scrapbook paper I have and it has writing on it that's really pretty. I tore out this little area that says moments, and I think this will look really cool here. And then this feather, yeah, I found this feather when we went on one of our hikes. I collect feathers and I have them in a bag right here, just ready to use. So same glue. I like that glue for this project. It's really working good. I'm holding it down, and then I've never glued a feather in before. So this is the first. Let's see how this glue works. I'm gonna lay it there and hold it and not move it for a good 10 seconds, and we'll see how it goes. I think it's working. I'm gonna recommend this. This glue does work. You just have to be really still and hold it there. Here it is. I love it. It turned out so good. There's the back. Oh, it's just so pretty. I love it, and I think it looks really good. I was gonna say you could put it on a cover, but there's already a lot going on my cover here. It definitely would look good on a journal cover, but I'm gonna put it here on this page. I think it looks really good on this dark green. This dark green is by Deco Art. It's one of their Deco Earth recycled paints, and it's called Deep Forest, and it's just beautiful and creamy, and I love it so much. Let's glue this down. And then for our writing prompt, I'm gonna suggest a prompt, and here it is. It could be like, suddenly I see, or I can see now, I can see clearly, I'm aware now, something like that. And I'm going to do my writing here. I'm using the white Jelly Roll gel pen, of course. I really love it. And it always writes so wonderfully on top of matte paint, especially chalk paint and especially any black matte paint. I just want to thank you for joining me again. I hope this inspired you to jump into your journals and get witchy with it, add some grunge, make some of those eye frames, those lover's eyes. And if you enjoyed yourself, please consider subscribing and liking this video. And if you want more, meet me back here next week with another one. It'll be truly magical. Can't wait to see you again.